Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Habitual Line Crosser, and today, this is one I've been wanting to do for quite some time. I rediscovered an old video. It was on YouTube from a long time ago, and a couple of my friends that I was in Afghanistan with in 2010, 2011, they rediscovered it, and they're like, "Hey, man, you should check this out." And I forgot it was there, and I'm so glad it's still there. But this is a little video I made when we were living at the Strong Point. Now, the Strong Point was a small Afghan dude's house that we lived in for 7 months. It was about 2 kilometers away from anything of significance. No running water, no electricity. Our bathroom was a hole in the ground. But you know what? We were happy. The members of the Reaper Platoon, 1st Platoon, Delta Company, 122 Infantry, we were happy there. So without further ado, don't forget that this video is brought to you by Ariel Resupply Coffee. The link in my bio on my page gets you 10% off your purchase. I will tell you this, out of all the flavors that are there, my personal favorite is Firewatch. I'd like to hear your personal favorite. And Moab will make you smell the color 9. It is potent, it is powerful, and I encourage you to use it responsibly. So without further ado, let's swap on over. We use my awesome transition, so we may have to swap between a couple of different scenes here in my OBS so that way we can see everything. But this is the front door of the Strong Point, which was my home for 7 months, excuse me. And well, let's take a look.
Afghan Cribs, what's up? Come on in. I've been waiting for you.
I just want to point out, I immediately feel old. Immediately. I look at that. That's a kid. That's a kid that went to Afghanistan. I am unbelievably old. Okay.
Did you get blown up on the way here? Okay. Let's check this out, right? Alright, this is where we're living at. You know, complete with C-wire and everything. You know, mounted guns. It's alright, you know, we just keep it on the low. We just keep it real chill around here. We got our... Let's take a walk over here first. Let's go.
I want to stop right here. You can't really tell. So this was filmed on a first generation, was a GoPro Hero. The first one like that they ever made. This was way back then. I mean, it was revolutionary technology, but compared to today, this is just so unclear. But if you look over here on the right, over in this tree, that's actually a sling load net that we turned into like a 5-person hammock, right? And this little ditch used to be full of water, but this is wintertime, and wintertime, all the water levels in Afghanistan go down. So during the summertime, like that tree would be all full. It was like a shady area. We'd hang out there. So this was actually pretty nice. But this is the outer compound. There's an outer compound, and then there's an inner compound. The inner compound is where we slept at. The outer compound, we kind of had some lighter security there, but we had like fallback positions just in case. So yeah.
Oh, across the river. Yeah, I got a river in my house. That's right.
If you look right here on the left, this building, this was actually a shop that belonged to the guy who owned this house. Now, here's the thing. We didn't just say, like, hey, get out. That wasn't a thing, right? This house, some other Americans, some MPs were living in it for like a month, and then we just took over and it became our permanent residence. And we paid the guy, like the guy whose house it was, we paid him. I just don't know what happened to him. I mean, he just wasn't around. So, yeah, let's continue.
We're gonna come on over here. We got where we burn trash.
You know, I inadvertently gave every single member of my platoon evidence to put us on the burn registry. Every single one of us to put us on the burn pit registry. Oh, God. Different time. I remember standing over top of that the burn pit, reading an Army Times newspaper, and it said, "No more burn pits. The Army gets rid of burn pits." And I'm standing over my burn pit like, huh. And then I threw the newspaper into the burn pit.
The trash pit, okay. We've been working on it here for a couple months now. Let's take a walk on over here.
What do you got here? Is this a custom horseshoe pit?
The dude talking behind the camera, his name is Small. And Small Man, he was from like way deep New York, like the Bronx or Queens or something, like super New York guy. He's a really nice guy. Still talk to him every now and again. Really, really awesome dude. But this was our little horseshoe pit we had, and you can't really see it, but this little open area out here, this building to the left, our Afghan National Civil Ordnance Police, or ANCOP, they would stay in there. and we were inside the big compound here. Nothing against them. It's just they wanted to be away from us because we told them they couldn't smoke weed. So they went out, and that was their little compound. They wanted to go smoke weed in there. Back here somewhere, there's a pit that we would, if we didn't feel like waiting for EOD, we probably shouldn't have. On more than a couple of occasions, we carried things back to our cop, and we just call EOD and be like, hey, or not our cop, the strong point. We'd be like, hey, EOD, come on out here and check this out. And they'd be like, oh, that's fine. I don't know what that is. Oh, you probably shouldn't have grabbed that. I have a picture of a giant flare that came from somewhere. It's a parachute flare. And it was apparently like 30 pounds of phosphorus. And we really shouldn't have carried that back home. But we did. So it's in my old pictures. So let's check it out.
Custom horseshoe pit. That's exactly what this is. Custom. Okay, we got it measured out. We got everything set up. Yeah. Go ahead, throw a shoe. Man, you should come down and play sometime. All right, don't forget we got our scoreboard right here for our custom horseshoes.
I love that Small just stops and starts waving at the Afghan National Civil Ordnance Police, just like, hey, and they're like, what are you guys doing? They have no idea what they're like, these silly Americans over here just recording shit and throwing horseshoes.
All right, let's go on back past my tower. Hey, yo, B!
So I do want to tell you something about this tower right here, and you can barely see it. There's a tree up in front of it. Now, the middle of the night, I was on this tower. More than a few times I was on this tower in the middle of the night. And I'm saying this in absolute confidence, and to my old platoon sergeant, retired now, Sergeant Marceau, I am so sorry. So sorry, and yes, it was me. I was on that tower in the middle of the night, and I had to boom boom. I had to boom boom bad. And I called SOG. And honestly, this is Smith's fault, right? Because Smith was on SOG, and I called SOG like 3 or 4 times. Hey, man, I just need someone to come take over for a couple seconds so I can go boom boom, right? I just need it, right? And no one ever showed up. He didn't even answer the radio because he was asleep. And so what I did is I went boom boom in an MRE bag. And then while still squatting and holding this MRE bag and pulling security, I took my knife and I cut open a sandbag and I shook it out, all the dirt and dust out of it. And I cleaned myself with this because there was no toilet paper in that MRE bag. It was just an empty MRE bag. Cleaned myself with that, turned it inside out. Then I put the MRE bag full of boom boom in there, and I what is that called? Foxtail? Into the night it went. I threw it and it was gone. Whatever, cool. The next morning, it was hung in that tree. There was a sandbag with an MRE bag inside of it that had my poo inside of it, hanging in that tree over top of Tower 1. That was Tower 1. And for the record, I am incredibly sorry. But I had to go. And I can't leave my post, so I was still pulling security. But yes, that happened.
What's up, Joe? Go back fast. Hey, B!
Is that your personal security right here?
Yeah, we got our own security. I help post security sometimes too, but ask this guy. I'm always sleeping.
While I was in Afghanistan, I got found asleep on tower guard, like once or twice, a couple times, and it's really bad. You shouldn't ever. We were just run ragged. And before you're like, I mean, what do you got to pull a couple hours a day? No, like when you're on patrols for us, you are minimum 20 hours in sector a day. That means you are walking around out in the streets of Afghanistan, Malajad, Afghanistan, for 20 hours a day. When you're on tower guard, you are on guard up in one of those towers for probably 12 to 14 hours throughout the day. So you're only really sleeping every other day. So you're exhausted. But anyways, yeah, my platoon sergeant actually threatened me with a firing squad. So fun fact, when you are caught asleep on tower guard, while you have a declaration of war, you have to have a declaration of war. The punishment is a firing squad. I don't know if you guys knew that. So that's fun. That's something I figured out in Afghanistan. So let's continue.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
That was Tower 2 up there. When we first moved in, there was a bunch of chicken coop things on the left side. And because it was so damn cold at night, you just couldn't get warm. We had like little fire in a can that would just, like, you'd have it kind of burning up there with you to keep your hands warm. And we, yeah, those chicken coops were eventually gone. Just all used up. Sorry, that's just what we did.
Oh, what's up? It's Afghan Cribs. Let's go up on this side here. Of course, we got our battle positions, things like.
So this right here is some sandbagged up area that was a fallback position. So if something bad happened and we started getting pushed back, you would fall back to inside this wall right here, And as they came through the front gate, that's where you would lay waste into them. So, yeah.
Take you on over here. Every time you go into these guys' houses, you got your style.
What you hear is this loud-ass 15K generator, which, or 1.5K, whatever. That was the only source of power we had, and it only ran the radio. That's all it was there for, was running the radio.
What? I got Oasis. I can't forget the Oasis. Actually, I'm kind of thirsty right now.
So keep in mind, all of this water right here, this is the only water in Afghanistan that we could drink, right? You can't drink from anything else. You can't drink anything else. You can't buy it from a store. You're not supposed to. I mean, like, you could drink, like, Coca-Colas and shit from a store, but like this. So every single one of these cases of water, we brought with us from the nearest cop, which is 2 kilometers away. Now, luckily, the ANCOP had a pickup truck that could get in and out, so they would, like, load up the bed of their pickup truck, and we would just walk it. We would, you know, clear the route and just make it all the way back up to where we were. But that was our only source of water, and we had to keep that on stock. Sometimes that wall was completely covered, and other times it wasn't. Like, we drank a lot of water bottles.
I'm gonna save that for later. We got plenty of it.
Stove?
Oh yeah, what's going over here? This is kind of our
Okay, I want to point something out right here. I'm going to go to the in-game overlay so you guys can see this full screen. Sorry, I had to switch to my my in-game overlay. But what you can barely see right here, and sorry, I can't get this little thing to go away. This is a belt of 203 high explosive grenades. Those are all golden goose eggs right there. Each one of those has like a 3 to 5 foot kill radius. Every single one of them. Notice how they are about 3 feet away from a propane tank with a Bunsen burner on top of it. Because that's just, you get so used to being close to death that things just get in close proximity. Like, every safety in my brain right now is throwing a red flag because of this. But back then we just didn't care. No one cared. So let's go back to this. And we will continue on.
kitchen area.
This is right near Christmas, so we have our Christmas tree right here. I lived in this room right here. This was our talk. That ladder went up. We had a satellite phone up there that we could use whenever it worked, which was not very often, but this was the room that the platoon sergeant slept in, the platoon leader slept in, and they would, that generator would run the radio. And of course we got our gear here. This is a Thor system. If you're not familiar with a Thor, it's like 60 pounds of garbage on your back. It fucking sucks. Maybe 40 pounds. I don't know.
We're not cooking back on the fire. We got our little, custom made. Yeah, that. All right. We're gonna keep moving. Don't forget all the gear and weapons and everything like that. What we got over here? We got our dishwasher.
Hold on. I gotta go back. Oh, I gotta go back when I called him that. That's so good.
We got our dishwasher.
The reason why this is so funny is that guy, I'm not going to give you his name, just because I want to leave that anonymity with him. Well, I'll give you his last name, Gates. And Gates, after this deployment, he went through selection to become Special Forces. And he was selected. And then he went through the Q course. I don't know if he was weapons, medical, I don't know what 18 series he was. And he was 18 series for like a number of years, like 8 or 9 years. He got out of the military, and now he plays college football. So we called him the Nerd Hulk. Note his voice is just like high-pitched and kind of nerdy, and he has like these big Coke bottle glasses. But from the neck down, this dude is just a brick shithouse. Like, he is a monster, and he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. But of course, he had to get me back, because in this point in time, yes, he was the same rank as me. I think we were both E4 here, but he was in a team leader position. So naturally, I had to listen to what he said, and I was just being a smartass because I could.
Dishwasher / laundry /
I want to point out this car mirror right here. Look, I don't feel good about everything that we always did, but we needed a shaving mirror. We needed a mirror for shaving. We were in the middle of nowhere. So there was a car that was in pieces, and as we were walking by, one of our guys just went, put this in my bag. And they put it in his bag, and we duct taped it to the top of our pump, or our little well, and that was where we shaved at.
Toothbrush, shower station.
Hey, camera, get a hold of this. Drop, bitch. Gotta love it. This is our personal smoke area. Get up.
What about the shower? Show us the shower.
All right, let's go on over to the shower.
Listen for it. I love how in the back you got Gates, like, note the custom wood floor. So before we show you this, right up here, this is all grapevine. And when we first moved in here, it was still like fall time. It was the tail end of summer. And this little wooden rack right here is where I slept. I didn't want to sleep inside one of the rooms. I'd like to wake up every day underneath the grapevine. And like, to me, that was like, hell yeah. And then it started getting cold. And fuck that. And I moved inside a building because god damn, it was cold, man. It was really cold. But this was our little custom shower we made. It had a solar shower you hang from the top. And then, you know, custom wood floor.
Yeah, real wood grain, yo. Real wood grain.
Lift, pull it back a little more.
Okay, we got our custom shower right here. Can't forget the custom shower, okay? Now, this is like a 3 or 4 person shower. You get yourself a couple girls in there, except there ain't none in our unit. That's cool.
This is back before they allowed females in combat arms. So that's not like a, oh, there's no women here. It's just, back then they didn't allow women in combat arms, so.
We're gonna go on back over here. Got a ladder up to our only satellite phone in the area.
Pantry?
What's up? Oh,
Pantry?
Going in here. Pantry. You can kind of see this thing. A little bit dark in here. Don't forget you got your MR.
We treated this as our pantry. This was their kitchen. Notice all the soot and everything because they cook over open fire. So that was where whoever owned that house, that property, that's where they would cook. That was their thing. So yeah.
Got your snacks, Clif bars, bread, PTREs. Don't forget all the games. Sometimes those get violent.
When I say that sometimes those get violent, I was punched in the face while we lived here over a game of Risk. Because we had this guy, Rontez, and I love Ronnie. I still talk to Ronnie to this day. And Ronnie, he is a powerhouse at the game of Risk. And I learned his technique. And my goal was not to beat him. My goal was to screw up his technique so bad that somebody else could beat him. So I just immediately started going full bore, wasting all my troops, screwing up his technique. And he punched me in the face. So I had a knife held to my throat over a game of Sorry from another buddy named LaRue. Yeah, no, like you got just nothing but like survival instinct and perpetual fucking just dude stuff in these areas. So it was a little crazy. So all right, we'll continue.
What up, Snoop?
Oh yeah, we can't forget Snoop.
That was Snoop. To this day I have no idea what his real name is. We probably couldn't pronounce it. All of our Terps had nicknames. We had Snoop, we had Hollywood, we had a couple of different ones, and like I think Snoop was the one, might have been somebody else. After our deployment, he started sharing very pro ISIS things, and we were like, nah, bro, and like we just cut him off and stopped talking. I think it was him. Might have been one of the other Terps, but I think it was him.
We've got our generator here because we can't run off of Afghan electricity forever. And as you can see, we got someone utilizing the piss tube at this point. How's that working out for you, Sergeant? Afghan Cribs.
That was the platoon sergeant right there using the piss tube, and we'll get to the piss tube in a second. And then the guy went by. That was Ronnie. That was the one who punched me in the face over a game of Risk. Yeah.
Now, this is kind of the area where.
Okay, so this right here, this character, I love this dude. This is Haynes. We called him Face. He was just Face. Not like Face from the A-Team, right? He was Face, like, on his Texas ID, he looked like Leatherface. Face had to sneak up on a glass of water, right? Face was not a very attractive man, but, if you chose to pick a gun and take a gun into a gunfight, or I could pick Face and take Face into a gunfight, I'm picking Face 9 times out of 10. Like, absolutely. Face, he is mean as a rattlesnake. Nothing ever slowed him down. Just a super positive guy. And when shit hit the fan, Face was just, like, he used to wolf hook and gangster grip on the side, his saw, because he loved hip firing his saw. And he was very accurate with it. Just gonna go ahead and leave it at that. But Face is an amazing character. I love Face, man. I need to talk to that dude. I'm gonna text him later on. I love Face. Face is a good dude.
One just kind of hangs out. You know, you got your fire pit, real area good to relax. You got your bed frame you can sleep on. You want to freeze your ass off.
So on that bed frame, I remember near one of the cops, we were kleptomaniacs. So we had to walk 2 kilometers to our vehicles because our vehicles couldn't park here. There's just no room for them. And then we would walk 2 kilometers, get in our vehicles, and sometimes we'd head to some of these bigger cops. And when we get to these bigger cops, we stole everything. because these guys had electricity, they had internet, they had like things to boost morale, and we were just making it happen on our own. We had no cooks, like we just cooked for ourselves. This is just the way we were living. This is just the way it was. And we went and stole everything. And I remember one night, I think it was Face and LaRue, stole a shit ton of like ribeyes, and we just put that bed frame over top of the fire and just slapped a whole bunch of fucking ribeyes on there. And we had ribeyes that night because we just stole everything. We stole all that from the Dan District Center. It's all right. They got more of it. I'm not worried about it. All right, let's continue.
But, you know, I feel like I should go pump some irons. Let's go on down to the personal gym, you know?
Yeah. What's going on down here?
This was the barn area. No one slept in these, but they had different uses. You know, if you ever walk down there, I never went in any of those rooms. I'll be honest with you. I never went in any of those rooms, but there was like Maxim magazines and Hustlers and stuff left in those rooms. And yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. We'll continue.
Got our own personal gym, you know? Get some of this in there. Get some of this. Afghan Cribs. We're doing Afghan Cribs, Sergeant.
My platoon sergeant came around the corner and was like, what the hell y'all doing? Right? And everything to him was gay. He's a Bostonian from way back east, and he just, what are you doing with this fucking gay shit? Like, that was just, everything to him was gay shit. That's just the way it was. That was, this is also before the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So, you know, those kind of things were commonplace. I'm not saying it was right, it was wrong, but just everything to him was gay shit. So I was trying to explain to him, hey, Sergeant, we're doing Afghan Cribs. And he never knew that this video existed. He never knew. Very recently he saw it. So it's kind of a good thing. And he was very happy. He's like, you know, Long, I give you a lot of shit. But I'm really glad that video is out there. And I'm really glad that we can reminisce and see what we went through as a platoon. So he did say thank you. And that was good. That was really, that was a good feeling for me.
Okay. Don't forget, you know, you got a couple of dumbbells. You got a couple of, I can't remember the name of those fuckers, kettlebells. You got a piece of wood you can do some sit-ups on.
I remember, so this right here, for some reason, I don't know why, maybe someone can explain to me, the Afghans, in a lot of their houses, they would take fresh cow shit, or horse, or donkey, whatever, and they would grab it, and they would smack it onto the wall, and they would just stick it to the wall, and there was like a big bubble of it right there. And I remember when we, you know, cow shit and horse shit is, it's flammable. And our last night there, we built up a fire pit right back here, and I still have the pictures from it. We all just gathered around the fire. It was our last night there before we moved out. And we were shooting pen flares at the fire because they'd taken away our pen flares. So we had to get rid of them anyways. And one of them skipped off the fire and stuck into that wall. And I remember it burned all of that cow poop off the wall. So, yeah. And then back here we had all our clotheslines and stuff. Yeah.
I'm not going to go up on the towers or nothing like that because the Taliban will find out.
We just used to just fucking joke on the Taliban all the time. Because, like, it just... About the first couple seconds of anything that happened was the most dangerous time with the Taliban. After that, they're just in disarray. They have no idea how to maneuver. They just shoot. They shoot wildly. It's not scary. I don't know. It's weird. At least where we were at, it wasn't. This was RC South. Now, guys who were in the RC East had a very different experience than we did. We had a lot of IEDs, not too much direct contact here or there. A lot of caches. I mean, we found a lot of bolos. Like we put in work.
Let's go around here. We have our own pile of shit. This has been here for a couple months now, at least. This is grade A horse shit, or donkey, or whatever.
This is another fallback position because we had a tower. That building that I told you, the barn. On top of that was our tower. That was our tower 3. That was our tower 3, and back there, their fallback position was right here. That if something happened, they would grab their machine guns and fall back to right here and use this as a fighting position. So. Which, in hindsight, that's not really a good spot to put it. Yeah.
Is there someone in the shooter right now? All right. I saved the best for last.
The piss tube.
Oh, no, well, yeah, of course you got your piss tube, which we already saw someone utilizing. Put your dick preferably not in there. And just goes on.
Yeah. I dug that piss tube. I think it was me and... LaRue. So this is the thing, man. When you put a platoon out in the middle of nowhere, and they kind of have to fend for themselves, we become the most ingenious individuals, and we just make things. So like me, LaRue, Face, a couple other guys were just really, really like big rednecks. So we just made things happen. We just built stuff. We built, I mean, the shower. We built like towers. We built things. So the piss tube was one of our things building. And I just want to back up. When I told you that my old platoon sergeant was like back east, Bostonian, you know, what's this gay shit? Listen to him ask about this garbage over here. I'm going to crank up the volume on the OBS. I want you to hear it.
And it just goes on.
Garbage over here.
Yeah, was all this garbage over here. I love it. I love it. Oh man, he was a good dude. He was good. I still talk to him. He's still around. He's a good dude though.
Oh shit. All right.
And that was me just doing the E4 Mafia thing. He's asking about something. No one answered, so I just act like I'm doing something else. I go, oh shit, and then I move on. That's the inner E4 Mafia right there.
And you can't forget, I saved the best for last. Our Afghan shitter. Okay?
There's a hole here. There's a hole here. That was an upgrade, that little stand we had there to go boom boom. And then on the outside of this wall was the river. So when it got full, you had one person on the inside that would get buckets of water from the well, and they would pour those down in there and hopefully knock everything out. And then sometimes, if they didn't knock everything out, you'd have one person on the outside with a shovel, shoveling it into the river so that way the river could just run it down creek. Before you're like, that's awful. The amount of people who go boom boom and piss in the rivers of Afghanistan would blow your mind. It happens all the time. So, yeah.
Look at that. 2 holes. You can look at each other while you're shitting. How many times have you ever seen that? Look at that. That is sexy. All right, well, you know what? I feel like hanging with the boys. We got some business to do. So, Afghan Cribs, get the fuck out of here.
It's funny. I love seeing it. It's a little bit of spicy nostalgia. There's a little part of me that doesn't like it. There's a little part of me that's like, you know, that was a kid. That was a kid that you made live like that for 7 months. And I see other kids that the Army made live like that for 7 months because the mission came before us. So like there's a little bit of me that's salty in there. I wouldn't trade these experiences for the world. I also wouldn't give a lot of them to my worst enemy. So I don't know. It's a weird nostalgic place to be, but that video is on YouTube. It's on an old YouTube I used to have way back in the day. You can literally just search for Afghan Cribs and take a look at it. I left it up there for a lot of my old buddies. I think my deployment video is also up there. I think there's a lot of different things, at least a few different things on that channel. So it's you ever watch something of your old self and you just feel really, really fucking old? Like you just, that's wild, man. And as years goes on, fuck, this was 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago. Almost 12 years ago. That should go to show you something, guys. If you think it's stupid to take a video of what you're doing while you're deployed or while you're having a life experience, if you think it's stupid to take a video, listen to this old man when I tell you I'm so glad I took that video and I wish I'd taken more. I wish I'd taken more videos of that place. I have some Christmas videos. I have some Christmas video of our dogs that we used to have that are gone now. I have Christmas video of my lieutenant who you don't see in that video. I don't think he had arrived yet because my first lieutenant was killed. And his replacement, Captain Galeazzi, who was actually featured on Good Morning America. I have videos of him on, you know, playing with our dogs on Christmas and saying Merry Christmas and stuff. And we didn't know that a few months later he would lose both his legs and his right arm. They reattached his right arm, so that's the reason he was featured on Good Morning America, is because he became the first double amputee who was accepted to Harvard Medical School. I don't know. I try not to think about Afghanistan, but at the same time, I feel like I can't stop thinking about Afghanistan and my experiences there. And I mean, I only did Afghanistan once. There's some people who did it 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And it takes a toll on you. So reach out, man. Absolutely reach out. I don't look on my time there favorably or unfavorably. I'm just kind of numb to it. It's what happened. It's what happened. It's a part of my life. It's an experience that I had. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Take videos, take pictures with the homies. That's what I tell everybody. Every time I go fishing with my buddy here at work, I take pictures of him on his kayak, casting and stuff like that, and I send them to him, and he'll do the same with me. He'll take pictures of me, like, you know, going down a river on my kayak and stuff. And it's take pictures with the homies, man. When you're out with your buddies, snap pictures of them when they're not paying attention, and then send them to them. Be like, hey, I bet your family would love to see this. And, you know, start creating that culture that, like, let's commemorate this. Even though we think it's stupid now, in 10, 15, 20 years, we're going to look back and be like, man, I'm so glad I have this. Like this video, I'm so glad I have it. So, as always, do not give in to the 22 a day. Every single one of you are amazing, and I will see you guys right here next time. Play me out.